Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Hmm. Okay. So can we start?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's start. Hmm. Okay, let me start second unit. We have gone through the first unit, and I will recommend you that you just go through the whole chapters, whole first chapter from your book. Okay, yeah, it will be very good if you read each and every page of the book. That will be beneficial for you to understand the subjects, understand the subject. Okay, now let's have a review what we are going to study in this unit. Uh, the first thing that we will study in this chapter is uh, how we develop an application on internet actually. Okay, we have seen that internet is designed to transport data from one point or one node to another node onto the network. Okay, uh, but uh, if you do not have any application that that is deployed on the internet will not be very much useful for us actually. Yeah. So it is very important that you develop different applications or useful applications for internet. Okay, and internet has grown because of these applications actually. A lot of applications have been developed on the internet that are very much popular among users, and they help us in many ways, like email service that you might have used, or you may have used. Almost everyone uses the email service, you know. This is very much popular service. You can use file transfer service on internet. From using that, you can transfer file from one machine to another machine. You can do e-commerce on the internet with the help of internet. You can do business transactions with the help of internet, and you can actually gather whatever information you want to know from the internet. You might have you also use news portals on the internet. You access social network services with the help of internet. So all these services that have been running on internet from a long time are called services on the offered over internet, and these are the actually applications that have been developed by different people. Okay, so now in this unit we will understand how internet allows or offers development of applications, or how internet applications can be developed. Okay, so we will see the conceptual framework behind all these things. 1 minute. Hmm. So, so what we are going to study in this chapter, let me uh, remind you again. We are going to we are going to understand what is the conceptual framework or the aspect of the internet that enables you to develop network applications. Okay. One more thing, the applications that you will deploy on the internet are network-based applications or distributed applications as such. Okay, so these applications are not this is not an application that is running on a single machine. This the application on internet you will develop will have maybe multiple agents or processes that are running on different machines on the internet, and these machines may be remotely uh, at remote places, and all these processes are communicating with each other, and then after communication they enable a particular service that will be that will be used by the users. Okay, now in order to support provide a platform for internet applications. Internet offers certain services, and using those services, actually, you can enable communication between the applications that you have developed, between the processes of the applications that you are going to develop, or you might have developed. Okay, so these services are like one of the important services, transport layer service model. Okay, so actually you can think of internet as a platform, actually, or a black box, actually, that allows you to allows your process to transport data from one machine to another machine, and these are the machines that are at remote locations, and they are not in the same network. Let me let me explain it to you with a diagram. Suppose that this is a machine, uh, you call it source machine, that is running some process here, and let's say this process is P1, and there is another machine that is running another process P2, and this process P1 want to send some data to P2, and these, remember, these processes are communicating to give a service to the user. So that service may be anything, and since P1 want to send some data to P2, and also it may be the case that P2 uh, would like to send some data to P1 as well. That means the communication is in both direction, and uh, these machines are at remote places, different places. This machine may be in India, this machine may be in US. Okay, now the common thing is that both of the machines are connected with the internet. Okay, so let's assume this is your internet, and internet is the only thing that is connecting both of these machines. Now what internet does, internet offers data transfer service. Okay, it offers data transfer service, let's assume for simplicity. You can think of internet as a service that is offering data transfer. Now these applications, process P1 and P2, um, these processes, actually P1 P2, may use this uh, internet's data transfer service to transport the data from P1 to P2 and P2 to P1 back. Okay, now so you can think of this is a internet which is offering data transfer service, and how it is doing, we are not bothered about it right now. At this time, we do not bother about how internet actually transports this data. So when P1 want to send any data, it will generate the data, and maybe it may form a packet. Okay, here you will have header, you will have your data here, and this data is given, or this data is given to interface of the internet, or internet interface means there will be something at this point that will enable communication between these two devices, that means internet and your process. So we will call it interface. So internet will actually offer an interface. So interface is actually offered by internet in form of API. We have already discussed about this application programming interface. So internet is actually offering, or we have a set of APIs that allows you to access this data transfer service of the internet. So now what you need to do, as a programmer, when you are developing this process, you need to just call some function from this API. This API is actually implemented in a set of functions that can be accessed uh, to perform desired task. So actually internet offers data transfer service. So API will offer a set of functions that will that if that function, if any of those function is called, that will enable you to transfer data from this process to this process. So your process P1 just will call a function from this API. Okay, and whatever data you want to send to this process P2, you will just give this data to that function. Okay, now we are I'm not using certain other things also. Actually, it is not only possible, it is not possible that only data will be given to the function. and your data will be delivered. You have to also give some other data as well, like which is the address of the process P2, okay, and which is the address of the machine that process P2 is running on. So that means you need to give some other information with this data. So actually that information is available in the header itself. So that process P1 will somehow make arrangement, or as an application programmer you will do something that so that some other data that you will call metadata, you can say, or some data that is regarding your data delivery. You will put that data into this packet, and then you will hand over this packet to your function, and function that is offered by API, and that function will actually enable the delivery, or will make arrangement to deliver the data, uh, deliver this data to this process P2. Okay, we will talk about the address aspect. Actually, this I was saying that some address is required to this process need to have some address, this machine need to have some address, so that data will be able to deliver. Okay, so we will take this aspect later. Hmm. So now you can think of that internet as actually delivering the data. So it offers this service in terms of some functions. So as a application developer, whenever you are writing some application program, you just need to call those functions, and you do not need to worry about how those functions perform actually the data delivery over the internet. Okay, so this is actually a view of a view application programmer view. As a application programmer, you will see internet as a tool of data transfer, and in order to do data transfer, you have a set of APIs. Whatever programming language you are using, in that programming language you will have a set of APIs. Those APIs will have a set of functions, and by calling those functions through your program, within your program, you can access these data transfer service of internet. Okay, so this is the model that we will see. So this is actually an application development model, or how the network application will be done. Then we will see client server paradigm. We actually already have discussed this paradigm. So we will also see that what kind of architectures you can follow while developing network applications. Many of the things we have developed, we have discussed already from these 2 points. Then in last, we will study what are the different application layer protocols that are offered by internet, like HTTP, hypertext transfer protocol. This is a protocol. Using that, you can do data transfer among a client and server. FTP, this is a protocol that enables you to transfer file from one machine to another machine on the internet. Then SMTP, POP3, IMAP, all these protocols are related to email service that you uses nowadays very often. And then we will also discuss DNS protocol. Okay, that is a very important protocol that is very important protocol to run your web services or applications on the internet. Okay, then we will have some introduction about socket APIs, that are the actually APIs that you can use to access data transfer services of internet. Okay, then there are some network applications. We will discuss some of these applications. Not all, we will discuss some of these applications. So now let's come back to our discussion that we are doing on developing a network application. So suppose that you are a programmer, and you got some idea that you got a new idea or a new idea to develop a very new kind of service over internet. Okay, and you found a startup for that, and now you need to implement this idea in form of a network application on the internet. Okay, so that idea may be different. A lot of people have come up with different ideas, and those have resulted in very popular services on internet. You might have heard Mark Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg started a social networking site, that was Facebook. Okay, so he realized that people should be able to communicate with each other. So he created social network service in form of an application, and now Facebook have become matured enough, and it have become a uh, multinational giant company. Okay, so similarly, you can also come up with a new idea that may be a very innovative idea, and down then and you need to implement that idea also on uh, if you want to enable a service on the basis of that idea. So in order to enable that service over that idea, you need to develop a network application. Okay, so as a network programmer, you have to develop a set of modules that that may run on internet in form of applications. And it is important to note that the application that you are going to develop here, it will be a distributed kind of application. That means it will have multiple uh, processes or agents that may be running on multiple machines on the internet, and those applications or agents, processes or agents will communicate with each other. Okay, by exchanging a set of data, that may be a data, or that may be that may be controlled data as well. And their communication will actually enable your service. Hmm? So now this is one, there are one important difference here. uh, in normal case of desktop applications, you might have a single application that is running on a machine, or single process that is running on machine, or multiple processes that are running on a single machine. But in case of network application, you will have a application that will be running in form of multiple processes or agents that are running on different machines, not on single machine. And these machines are not localized one, these machines may be remote machines. Okay, now machines may be of different natures, but they will be remote machines, and they will be they are running your processes. Okay, for example, suppose you might develop a client server application where you have a server that is delivering certain kind of contents. Let's say you realize that we need to have a portal that delivers online movies, or that offers their users to download a set of movies. So what you will do, you will just create a server, you will put a set of movies there, you can organize those movies in different ways, and you develop a client application. Client runs that application to access the set of movies that you have put on server, and using that application, client can send a request to download certain movies. So it may be a free this service may be free service, it may be a payment based service, whatever idea you want to have. Okay, and then on the basis of user's request, you will send that movie to your user, and then user can enjoy the movie. Okay, so you can have so now in this example, you can see that there are two applications that are on running on internet, and these are on remote machines. One is at the client side, that means user who is downloading the movie. So one process is running on user machine, and another process is running on a machine where you are hosting movies. So that is called server machine. Okay, so what I want to point out here by describing all that is that actually your application may have different architecture. So we have already discussed that applications can have two kind of uh, architecture. One is client server architecture, and second is peer to peer architecture. Okay, 1 minute. क्या है, पापा क्लास कर रहे हैं बेटा, जाओ, बाय. Sorry for the disturbance. Let's continue. So what I was telling about that you can have basically mainly two different kind of architectures. One is called client server architecture and second is peer-to-peer architecture. We have discussed both of these architectures in our earlier classes in detail. Okay, so I will not discuss these architecture here. I will just give you a brief idea about those architecture. And third, we have not discussed this architecture of the machine, that is called architecture of application, that is called hybrid. So this is a actually application architecture that is combination of both of these architecture. That means client to client and peer to peer. So let's discuss in very brief. Let me repeat again, remind to in order to remind you what was client server architecture. So in case of client server architecture, actually you have a machine that is called server, and server is a machine that is assumed to be uh, always on host. So that means this machine is supposed to run 24 by 7 hours. In this machine is supposed to run 24 by 7 hours, and it will have a permanent IP address. Why it is required to have a permanent IP address? So that anyone, any client application, whenever it likes, can contact this machine. Okay, so if your machine will not have a permanent IP address, then it will be difficult or very it may be impossible to find out the server. Okay, so server is always supposed to run 24 by 7 hours on a permanent IP address. That means its address should be permanent. Then servers are server farms for scaling. That means servers should be built by keeping scaling in the mind. So scaling means if number of consumers or your customers increases, number of clients increases, then servers functioning should not be very much affected. Okay, so in order to you just need to develop or deploy your server while keeping the customer base or your consumer base in mind. Okay, because you know that clients just send requests as per their base or as per their need. So sometimes your server may see a very small number of customers, sometimes your server may see very large number of customers also. So the number of customers accessing or communicating with your server will vary with time. Okay, so you need to create capacity of server according to that, and your obviously your server need to be have a powerful machine and powerful hardware and software infrastructure. Then you have a different kind of uh, machines or applications modules that will be called clients, and the job of the client is to communicate with server. Why they want to communicate with server? They want to access certain services or certain data items that are stored on the server. Okay, and it may be intermittently connected. What does that mean? It means that clients may uh, become they may come up at any time. Many times client will remain off, but it can wake up at any time and then start sending the request. And then once those requests have been fulfilled, it may go into uh, it may go down, you know? Or it may be become off. It may become off at any time. So they just wake up, access the services, and then go into the sleep like that. Okay, so clients will not run 24 by 7 hours. They will wake up whenever they will need services from the server, and then once their job is done, they will go off. Okay, so clients may have different IPs actually at different time. Okay, they do not require any kind of permanent IP address because server or any other client do not interact with any other client. Okay, server just interact with the client only when the client contacts it. Server will not initiate any kind of communication from the client to the client. Okay, this you should remember. Then as I already told that two clients will not communicate directly with each other. However, two clients can communicate with each other with the help of server. Okay, they will not interact with each other directly. This is the client server model. we have seen what are the advantage and disadvantage of these model this model, and you know that this is a very popular network application model, and majority of the network services are developed following this network application architecture. Okay, now there is another network application architecture that is called peer-to-peer architecture, and this architecture is different from client server architecture. In case of client server architecture, you have two kind of nodes. One is client and second is server, and both are different in natures and they are not equivalent in powers. Okay, so that's why that client server model is a kind of asymmetric model. But in case of peer-to-peer architecture, both there is no concept of client and server actually. At any time, any machine can become client, and any time a machine can become server. Okay, so actually all the machines are peer. Nobody is nobody's boss kind of thing. Okay, so there is no always on server. We do not require no always on server here. Any machine can wake up at any time, and then it can go off at any time. Okay, uh, arbitrary end systems directly communicate with each other. So here the machines are coming up at their convenient and then going off at their convenient also. So whenever whatever machines are active, they will communicate with each other directly. Okay, on an arbitrary basis, and peers are intermittently connected and change IP addresses. So these machines are intermittently connected, means any machine can come up anytime and can go off anytime. Okay, so and whatever machine they will find active at the time, they can establish communication with them. So since machine are not running permanent on the permanent basis, and it is not always desirable that one machine should be active always. Okay, and so that everybody can contact that machine. This there is this no this this network architecture do not have this kind of requirement. That's why no permanent IP is required for any machine. Okay. So this is your peer-to-peer architecture. We have already seen that what are the advantages of this architecture and what are the disadvantages of this architecture. Okay, now this architecture is very much scalable uh, because there is no single entity or single server kind of thing that is required to serve everyone. Okay, anybody can serve anyone. Okay, so that's why this model is very much scalable. Any machine, if some of the machines goes down and or go become off, then still then at least some of the machines will be in active mode, so your server will remain your network will remain active all the time. It will not go down. But in case of client server architecture, what happens if server goes down, every the service for that the server you have established will become unavailable. Okay, uh, and since there is no kind of client server kind of thing, server is not required to serve the whole network or whole other machine. So it is very scalable as well, and it, because of that also it becomes difficult to manageable, because there is no machine that you will manage. There is no kind of central control point of control. Every machine is independent from each other. Okay, so that's why it becomes difficult to manage also. Now uh, there is another network architecture model, network application architecture, that is combination of both of these, client and server. So for example, Skype and instant messaging service, and also you can think of WhatsApp is also a kind of service actually. So it is a hybrid in nature. How it is hybrid? So in case of this hybrid model, actually you will have a server and then you will have a bunch of clients. Now the model here, the one thing is different. Let me write it. This is a server and these are the actually clients. These are clients. Now in this application architecture, what is the need? These clients want to communicate with each other. You may remember, you might be knowing that in case of client server architecture, clients never communicate with each other. But in this model, client are allowed to communicate with each other. Client can communicate with each other. But again, client cannot communicate directly with each other. So whenever suppose these two clients want to communicate, they will communicate with the help of server. Okay. Now it is not so. I'm not saying that whenever these two parties want to communicate, let's say this is client one, C1, client C2. So it is not the case that client C1 will send whatever data want to send to C2 to the server and then server will redirect it. No, it is not so. Client C1 and C2 can directly exchange the data, but it will happen only when they will establish communication with each other with the help of server. So server will be able to help. Server will actually a entity that will help both of these parties to establish a communication with among them or establishing a connection among them. How server will do that? Actually, when client C1 want to communicate with C2, so it may be the case that C1, since the clients have dynamic IP addresses, so client C1 may not be able to reach C2 because it doesn't know the IP address of C2. Okay, but in this model, whenever any client becomes active, it starts communicating with the server, and it may give its IP address or other information about its activity to the server. Okay, and then C1 when want to talk to C2, it will contact server, and server will inform that whether C2 is active or not. If C2 is active, server will give its IP address to C1, and then it will help both of these parties to establish a direct connection among them. Okay, and then C1, C2 can communicate with each other. Okay, so what server is helping actually? Server is actually maintaining some information about the clients that are active at the time. Okay, and then the clients that are active can enable communication with other clients that are active. Okay, active clients can communicate, can establish communication with other active client, but uh, the server will help C1 in knowing what contacts of C1 are available. For example, in case of you might have used instant messaging service, Gmail, Gtalk. Okay, so in case of Gtalk, what you have seen, you can communicate your any of the friend directly, but to which friend you want to communicate, you must know whether which that friend is online or not. If your friend is not online, you will not be able to communicate directly with each other, because here communication is in synchronous mode. Synchronous means both parties are active at the time. इंस्टेंट चैटिंग के केस में क्या होता है, दोनों पार्टी जब ऑनलाइन होंगी तभी तो आप बात कर पाएंगे. अगर ऑफलाइन होगा तो यू कैन जस्ट डिलीवर वन मैसेज बट यू विल नॉट गेट एनी रिस्पॉन्स. So in case of instant messaging, it is required that both parties are active. Only then you can start communication. But who of the friends, which are the friends of you that are active at a time, at a particular time, you will not able to know until server helps you knowing this. Okay, so whenever anyone becomes active, actually it registers himself or it inform to the server that I am active. So that's why server is able to know which are of your friends that are active at the time, and then the server will display you the list of friends that are active at the time. Okay, so here the server's mainly role is just a kind of mediator, that is mediating you, or that is supporting you, so that you can establish a direct communication with each other. Okay, so that's why this is a kind of architecture where it is a kind of it is actually combination of both peer to peer. It is a combination of peer to peer. Here, once communication between C1 and C2 established, now they can directly exchange messages with each other, and there is no involvement of server now. Obviously, however, suppose that communication is done, they will destabilize, they will break up the communication once they have finished their chat, for example. Then suppose that client C2 goes off, then it will inform to the server, and server then will remove this party from the list of active clients. Okay, so server is just behaving like a mediator, and then the clients are directly communicating with each other. So this is similar to the peer-to-peer network where clients or the machines directly communicate with each other. So this is a service that is actually a combination of both client to client and peer to peer. So that's why it is called hybrid architecture. Okay, so Skype you might have heard, and instant messaging. Both are the services what are the services that are of this nature. Any question? Any question?
No, sir.
Okay. So let's move ahead. Now we have seen that how the network architecture are defined. So once you have, for example, we were talking about, let me come back again. We were talking about a idea that you have and you want to implement this idea in form of a application or service over internet. Okay. So you will choose one architecture. Okay. Once you have selected your architecture, you will design your application and then you will start writing application. But while writing your application, you need to understand the process communication, the concept of process communication, because the concept of process communication is very important in order to develop your application. If you do not understand this concept, you will not be able to write application. Okay, because the, your application will have a set of processes, okay, that are running on remote machines, and so that and you want to realize your service by establishing the communication among those processes. Okay, we will not go into the detail what detail a process may have. Actually, the what a process will do will depend on your application, but it is irrespective of the application how process will be communicating. Okay, so this conceptual thing will be same for each and every network application, how process communicates with each other. So it is a common framework or a set of concepts that will be followed by each and every process that will communicate with each other. Okay, irrespective of the different network applications architecture. Okay, application आपका कुछ भी हो, लेकिन process communication का तरीका that will be the same for each and every application. Okay, so what is that? So let's discuss those things one by one in brief. So first you need to understand what is a process. So you already know, if you have studied operating system, you may be knowing what is a process. Let me define it in very simple terms. A process is a program under execution. So a process is actually a program which is running. Okay, and execution a program which is under execution. Okay, that is called a process. And obviously here process will be running on some machine that is on internet. Okay, it will here all the process that we are talking about are running on some machine. It is not necessary that a process is always running on a client machine. It can also run on server machine. So machine can be of any kind depending on the architecture, but a process will be a program under execution that is running on some machine on that is connected to the internet. Okay, and obviously machine should be online, है ना? Offline machine अगर है, that means machine is off, then process उस पर run and process cannot run. And if your process is machine is disconnected, your process is running on that disconnecting machine, then that process is of no use for us. Okay, now uh, uh, now you might have studied in operating system that in case of operating system, you have a set of processes that are running on a single machine. But here we are talking about processes that are running on different machines. Okay, so the process communication का जो concept है, you will also study in your operating system class. If you have already studied, then you might be knowing that all a machine a machine is running whenever a machine is active, it runs a number of processes, and those processes communicates with each other as well. Okay, but here the process communication that we are going to talk about is different. कैसे different है? In your operating system class, you will be studying the process communication where all the processes are running on a single machine. So in or OS class, what you might have studied or going to study is that you have a set of processes, let's say P1, P2, and PK, and these are the processes that may communicate with each other by exchanging messages, by following some set of concepts. Okay, but all these machines are running on a single machine. Okay, let's say this is a machine A, So this is also called process communication, and this kind of process communication you study in your OS subject. But here we are talking about a process communication where the process that are involved in communication are running on different machines. Again, this is one machine on internet, let's assume, and this is another machine. This is a remote machine again, B is also a remote machine that is running some other process. Now it may be the case that this process, let's say this is PI, and process this is PJ, and both of these processes are communicating with each other and with the help of internet. So we are going to talk about this kind of process communication, okay, where the processes that are communicating are on different machines. Got it? Now, so it is very important to understand the process in different hosts. That means in this kind of scenario will communicate by exchanging messages. Okay. So these two processes, whenever they want to communicate, they will communicate messages over internet. Okay. Like that. This process will generate some message that need to be delivered to this process. So it will generate the message, and you know that messages are converted in form of packets by the internet, and then those messages will reach to the process PJ. Similarly, PJ will also respond by sending a set of messages with the help of internet. Okay, so this is how the communication will be done. Now, again, on the basis of your architecture, generally since client server architecture is more dominant, we will refer these processes with the by using the terminology of client server architecture. So again, we will mark those processes as one process will be client. So let's assume this is a client process. The client is the process. We will mark a process as a client when it is initiating communication. So the process P1 is initiating communication, so we will mark it as a client, and the process that is receiving a communication, we will call it server. Okay, these are the terminologies. Okay, आपको मालूम है peer to peer में there is no client, there is no server. Actually, both are the client, both are the server. Okay, but we are following the client server architecture, so that's why I will mark one of them as client and one of them as server. Okay, so server process, which is the process that will be called client process, that process that initiates the communication will be called client, and a process that waits to be contacted, this one will be called server process. You know that server waits for client. Server runs 24/7 hours. So we will assume one of the processes client, one of the process as server. And you know that these processes will communicate by exchanging the messages. Now a question arise hota hai ki how these processes will be able to have communication. So let me redraw this diagram again. And now I'm going to draw only two processes. Okay. Now, but you should understand that there are multiple processes on each of the machines. Let me draw it. Okay. This is our client process. I'm marking it as C. And let's say, let me make it. This is the server process that is running, and both these processes want to communicate with each other, or they are communicating with each other. Now, let's talk about why concept of socket is necessary. So I will come up that topic, that concept of socket after a while. First thing, you need to understand that when client want to contact the server or want to send some data to the server, then
सर
हाँ, yeah.
यहाँ पर जो सर डेटा ट्रांसफर हो रहा है सर पैकेट स्विचिंग मेथड से ना हो रहा है.
No, not necessary. Generally, it will be done using packet switching, but it is not necessary. However, you know that your internet is a data network that works on packet switching. So obviously, packet switching will be there, but it is not necessary that the process and server, the client and server will communicate using packet switching. It is not always the case. Okay, some networks may implement circuit switching as well. Okay, there are some networks are there, they use circuit switching kind of thing as well. Okay, but majority of cases में आपका जो network है, obviously you are correct, the packet switching technology will be used.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so now सॉकेट के बारे में हम थोड़ी देर में आएंगे, पहले हम कुछ और चीजों की बात करना चाहते हैं. नाउ लेट्स सपोज दिस क्लाइंट प्रोसेस वांट टू सेंड डेटा टू दिस सर्वर. नाउ इट इज नॉट ओनली द केस दैट केवल यही दो प्रोसेस आपस में इन मशीन्स पर कम्युनिकेट कर रही हूँ. Coincidentally, it may also happen that this process also want to send data, let's say, to this process. Okay, now let's think of perspective of internet. Internet is actually offering data delivery among them. Okay, now suppose client C gives the data to internet to deliver that data to a process on this machine, server machine. Let's say it is B, it is A. Now internet is given a contract, or you can think of internet is given a job to deliver this packet on this machine, this process on this machine B. Okay, now since let's say internet just takes the packet from C and reaches to this machine. Packet reaches to this machine, internet have taken the packet to this machine. You can think of internet as a kind of delivery boy that just reaches to this home, and this home have multiple processes. You can think of processes as the persons living in a house. Okay, they are persons that are living in a house. Now internet is as a delivery boy, internet need to know among since there are 5 persons, to which person this packet or this consignment, or you can say that this package or parcel need to be given. Okay, so what I wanted to say that we need to give some identities to these processes. Okay, that means these processes need to have some identities so that this delivery boy can deliver the data to the correct person. So suppose that a parcel is reaches to you, and some courier boy comes to you by bringing that parcel, and the parcel is not having any name on that. Then when you opens a door, or just a parcel boy knocks your door, and let's say all the members of your family goes on the gate. Now imagine the dilemma of that delivery person. As a delivery person, can you decide to which person that parcel need to be given? किसको दिया जाए parcel, है ना? So this problem will remain until you use the name of the recipient party, है ना? Generally in a family, all the persons have different names. But just imagine a situation in a joint family. There are more than 2 persons that are having, let's say, name Ravi, and a parcel is having a name Ravi. So delivery boy comes it and knocks the door, and then just make an announcement, Mr. Ravi have a parcel. Then let's say in a family there are 3 persons with name Ravi. All 3 comes to the gate, and now to whom that packet need to be given? Which Ravi? It will be problematic for the delivery boy to know कि ये किस रवि के लिए parcel है. So what I want to point out here is that each of the process need to have a unique identifier. Yes or no? At least within the home itself. आपके घर में अगर सबके नाम यूनिक होंगे तो कोई कंफ्यूजन नहीं होगा. एक ही रवि है, so only one Ravi will come, and then parcel boy will hand over that parcel to Ravi, whoever is Ravi. He will come out, he or she, and then parcel will be given to him, and then delivery will become successful. So imagine this case with the internet as well. एक machine पर multiple processes हैं, and those processes are not having any kind of identifier. Then to whom that packet will be given by internet? It will be difficult, है ना? So that means you need to have a identifier for each of the process. Now, अब क्वेश्चन अराइज होता है, so within that each process should have unique ID, है ना? तो अगर इनकी यूनिक आईडी होगी, so that ID need to be mentioned by the client itself here. ठीक है, क्लाइंट बता देगा कि किस आईडी वाले पर्सन को देना है. सो लेट्स से रवि को देना था, तो आपने रवि ने अनाउंस कर दिया, है ना? रवि, आपने यही नाम मेंशन कर दिया. सो रवि नाम की प्रोसेस को डेटा डिलीवर हो जाएगा. सो रवि का मतलब यहाँ प्रोसेस का आईडी यहाँ होना चाहिए. ओके, सो जनरली इंटरनेट में हम प्रोसेस को एक 16 बिट के एड्रेस से आइडेंटिफाई करते हैं. दैट इज कॉल्ड पोर्ट एड्रेस. सबने सुना होगा नाम. सो ऑन द इंटरनेट प्रोसेसेस को हम पोर्ट एड्रेस से आइडेंटिफाई करते हैं. नाउ, क्या ये पोर्ट एड्रेस लोकली यूनिक होना चाहिए या ग्लोबली यूनिक होना चाहिए?
ग्लोबली.
क्यों नेसेसरी है? अगर मैं लेट्स से पोर्ट एड्रेस इसका है प्रोसेस का 16 डिजिट का है, लेकिन मैं एक नंबर P1 इस्तेमाल एक P1 नाम से ही नंबर इस्तेमाल कर रहा हूँ. ये आइडेंटिटी है P1, जो कि यहाँ P1 है. अगर यहाँ भी P1 नाम से एक प्रोसेस रन कर रही है तो कोई इशू है क्या? देयर इज अनदर मशीन C. Is there any problem? Here you also
No.
have a process with identifier process port address P1. Here another process is also there that is also running on port address P1. नहीं है ना दिक्कत? What we will do, since you know that each machine is also having ID. Okay, so now आपने इंटरनेट को एक डेटा दिया, जो पैकेट दिया वो P1 के लिए दिया. सपोज दैट you just gave a packet where you have mentioned P1 and you tell the internet to deliver this packet to process P1. now इंटरनेट के सामने कंफ्यूजन हो जाएगा कि देयर आर टू मशीन्स, एक सर्वर B है और लेट्स से एक सर्वर C है. यहाँ हियर इज आल्सो देयर इज ए प्रोसेस P1, हियर इज आल्सो ए प्रोसेस P1. अब ये जो पार्टी है, यहाँ जो एप्लीकेशन है, ये किस P1 को डेटा डिलीवर करना चाहता है? अगर आप अकेले पोर्ट एड्रेस बताएंगे तो इट विल बी प्रॉब्लमेटिक फॉर यू, के इंटरनेट के लिए डिफिकल्ट हो जाएगा जानना कि इस P1 को दिया जाए या इस P1 को दिया जाए. इंटरनेट को ये कैसे पता चलेगा P1 यहाँ भी है यहाँ भी है? ये जानने का वही हमारा इशू नहीं है. We just want to have a discussion, or we just want to know that suppose that P1 process is running here also, and there is also a process that is named as P1 running at this machine as well. So there are two processes that are running on different machine on same port number or port address. If you will repeat port number, then there will be one problem. But generally you can repeat the port number. It is not necessary that port number should be unique, because you know that each machine will have a IP address on the internet as well. So this will have a different IP address. So let's say this IP, this is having IP address 1, IP1, it is having IP2. So now you can combine, you can use a combination of both of things. That means IP address plus port number as a address, and it will allow you to identify each and every process on the internet uniquely, है ना? क्योंकि अब क्या कर रहे हो आप, इन दोनों को आपको डिफरेंशिएट करना है P1 को. तो आप क्या करिए, मशीन से कहिए कि आप साथ में किस मशीन की बात कर रहे हो, वो मशीन का भी एड्रेस बताइए. सो C will tell you the IP address and port address both. Okay, so C will tell you or tell the internet that this packet should be delivered to a process P1 on let's say machine with IP address let's say IP1, then that means the packet will be delivered to this one. Internet will deliver packet to this process. But if suppose C says that no, deliver the packet to process P1 on the machine with IP address IP2, then internet will deliver your data to this process. Okay, so in order to identify each of the process uniquely, you will use combination of two addresses. IP address is unique for the machine. No two machines on the internet will have same IP address. Okay, now this statement have some stars, terms and conditions. Okay, we will talk about that later. Generally IP address is unique, but it's not always the same. The thing, yeah, absolutely fact है जो ना, ये statement absolutely true नहीं है. Okay, I am saying that no two machines on internet, no two machines on internet have same IP. है जाएगा same IP address. Okay, so this statement is not absolutely true. Okay, actually होना यह चाहिए no two machines, public machines you can say. So public machines, by public machines I means machines with public IP. Okay, machines with public IP. So actually there are two kind of IPs you will see on internet. We will discuss this in unit 3, that you have two kind of IP address, public IP address and private IP address. Okay, so if you are giving machine to machine a public IP address, then it will be unique. No two machines can have same public IP. Okay, so in order to identify the process to be delivered, uniquely identify, we will use a combination of two addresses. One is called IP address and port address. IP address uniquely identify the host or machine, and process address or port address actually identifies the actual process on the machine. Got it? Okay. Now let's talk about the socket, concept of socket. Now what we were saying that कि C को जो है ना डेटा डिलीवर कर देना है इंटरनेट को, बट C जो है डेटा हैंड ओवर करना है इंटरनेट को, so that data will be delivered by the internet to this process, desired process. But now question रहा था how C and internet will be able to communicate. The process C and internet communicate कैसे करेंगे? So that's why so in order to resolve this problem, we have come up with a concept of socket. So it is a socket is just a kind of interface. जैसे आपको अगर एक मशीन है उसको पावर देना होता है, तो पावर के लिए आपके पास क्या होता है? यू हैव इंटरफेस. क्या है? 3 पिन प्लग का आपके बोर्ड में 3 पिन या 2 पिन प्लग होता है, तो जिससे आप क्या करते हो, जो बिजली की जो पावर सप्लाई है वो आप मशीन को दे देते हो. सो दैट पॉइंट इज बिहेविंग एज ए इंटरफेस. आपको केवल वहां प्लग इन कर देना है. तो सिमिलरली socket is a kind of interface that will allow a process to access the service of internet easily. Okay, so now let's understand how socket works.
सर क्लास है.
Okay, class hai. Okay. So let's close here for today. We will continue with this concept in, from next class onward. Okay. Let me take that. डिस्क्रीट की क्लास होगी ना?
यस
सर.
ओके. चलिए अटेंडेंस बोलिए और फिर आप जिनके अटेंडेंस होता जाए वो लीव कर सकता है. ओके. कुमारी सुमन.
प्रेजेंट सर.
निशिकांत कुमार.
यस सर.
ओके. अंकित कुमार. अंकित कुमार. आशुतोष कुमार.
यस सर.
प्रतिकांता साहू.
यस सर.
शिव प्रताप राजावत. शिव प्रताप राजावत. अभिषेक कुमार.
यस सर.
सौरभ कुमार.
यस सर.
अजमल अली खान. अजमल अली खान. अजमल शायद प्रेजेंट था। मोहम्मद रिमसाद पी। ओके। अतुल कुमार।
Present, sir.
अखिलेश एवी।
Present, sir.
चिन्मय चैतन्य। चिन्मय चैतन्य।
Present, sir.
बबली कुमारी। हाँ, चिन्मय प्रेजेंट है ना। बबली कुमारी। बिनीता सिंह।
Present, sir.
अलूवाला तिरुमाला। रवि पटेल।
Present, sir.
आरोही शर्मा।
Present, sir.
धीरज कुमार।